But among them, you choose the best, and they become what we call finalists. The finalist will then go to another event that we call the business presentation competition. This is a recruiting event, but it's also, so it's public relations and recruiting, but it's also an opportunity to invite the investment community there locally in. And so you'll have a panel of judges. Usually this panel of judges are like government officials or bankers. We like to have bankers, those that are running funds. There are some private equity funds and community development funds and those kinds of things. Those are the kind of people you like to have as judges. And so they will then judge those finalists. Usually we have 4 or 5 finalists, and then they will pick the winners. And the winners will receive, special credits at the graduation ceremony. And so the graduation ceremony, I won't go into great detail because the operations manual does go into great detail about how to conduct the graduation, even the program and everything. But a couple of things I will point out is that we honor entrepreneurs who have been the greatest servant in the program. So there's like a servant award, the best promoter, the best, maybe one of the entrepreneurs in the program did a great job of inviting others and promoting the program. So the best promoter, the servant award, and the other things like that we want to honor, that we want to appreciate. We do that there, as well as obviously those who won the business presentation competition. They get credit there. And the graduation, just like the competition, is another one of those promotional events. It's great because everybody comes and they're impressed by what's happened and they're impressed by the speaker, and so it's a great time to take indications of interest. Some of the ways that we've done that in the past, the response mechanisms are a sign up. Everybody that comes in signs up, so they all get added to the email list. If they sign up, they get added to the email list. We also will have sometimes like a special bowl on the table and some sheets of paper. If you say where it says, I'm interested in learning more about the BDC, they can put their email address, their phone number, their name on that piece of paper and drop it into the bowl. Thank you. And so those are all aspects of the graduation and the business presentations. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? Then our alumni programs. So, one of the greatest resources in the BDC is we have these really high quality people that go through our program, and now they're alumni. And we want to keep that family atmosphere going. We want to keep that relationship. We like to talk about it being the training is a gateway into a long-term relationship, into a family atmosphere. Welcome. Welcome. So that's one of the things. The alumni are one of the greatest resources of the BDC, and so we want to have different kinds of programs there. And I'm just going to talk about some of the experiences we've had. Many of our alumni become mentors because as they succeed in business, as they do these things, they become a resource themselves for mentoring, for encouraging, for helping the current cohorts that are going through the program. I'll give you for instance. In Uganda, we had our first class, the first cohort in Uganda was amazing. We had the vice president of marketing for Coca-Cola Uganda go through the program. And we had other people that were high-powered consultants and different people like that go through that first class. And it felt sovereign. It felt like that was something the Lord did with that first group in Uganda. But those people went on to become some of our facilitators in the program, as well as becoming mentors. And I'll touch on this idea of a capital fund. And the alumni in Uganda said, hey, we need additional access to capital solutions for our graduates. So they started their own alumni capital fund where they could invest in some of the best businesses that were coming out of the BDC. They really wanted to do that. And so that was an amazing thing to watch them do that. Their goal was to cherry pick the best businesses, and then have that fund continue. You know what I mean by cherry pick? To skim the cream from the top, to take the very best, and then to let that fund continue to grow. And so that was an alumni initiative. They organized that themselves. Let me also mention the expo. We have a system. This is a system. It's not a program per se, but it's a system for an investment expo. And we developed this in Rwanda. And so what it is it's a system whereby I'll just tell you what the event looked like in Rwanda. We invited some people from the international investment community. We had about 17 angel investors, a couple of institutional investors come from the US for the expo. And we also used the fact that they were coming to promote among the local investment community there in Rwanda. So we had banks, a couple of funds within Rwanda, some Rwandan angel investors. We had all of those come. And so we had probably an equal number of local investors come. And so we probably had about 30 to 35 investors that came to the Investment Expo. And we also had many of our graduates come and do a pitch, but we opened it up so it was broader even than our graduates. We had 100 slots, 100 entrepreneurs that could all do a speed pitch. And we had a nice hotel, and we had tents set up around the grounds of this very nice hotel. And each one of those tents was a station. So we had like station 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we had investors that formed panels at each of those stations. And it was a mixture of international investors as well as local investors. And then all the entrepreneurs that came, like I said, it was our graduates as well as others from the community. They would come and do a speed pitch. Everybody that applied to be a part of that speed pitch sent in an application ahead of time. And of course, those that weren't in the program, we recruited from. We said, hey, you should be in our program. But we also sent them a packet explaining some things about capital formation, explaining some things about different kind of investment, giving some ideas about what a term sheet might look like, because many of these people didn't have any familiarity with what capital formation would look like for their company. And so we gave them an orientation to that. It had some video links and other things like that that helped get them up to speed. And there was also an exhibit area. So some of the people exhibited their businesses in the exhibit area. And then we had from the speed pitch round, we selected finalists who did a final competition. The top 2 slots in that competition received some award money for their business. But we also we told the investors, anybody here that you're interested in, and there was 2 rounds. There was semifinalist and then the finalist. And anybody here that you're interested in, you're free to make a deal with. And we had lawyers there that could paper those deals. We had sample term sheets. We had all of that. So we weren't forcing anybody to make investment, but we created an environment where it was easy to do. We reduced the friction. And so it was good. It was good. I mean, not only was it a great PR event for the BDC, but it also, we had about 11 deals that I'm aware of that were made there. And so that was pretty successful in that measure. And so we had more deals than we had finalists, so we were pleased with that outcome. That's a system. We documented everything we did and how to do it. So just like we have this 100-page operations manual, we have some resources on how to do an investment expo. So then after we did Rwanda one time, they did it another time, and then Uganda also did an investment expo using that system. So that's something that you will have available as well if you're interested in it. A couple more points on alumni. Alumni are a resource for just-in-time training because you'll have certain expertise, within your alumni. You keep track of that, and as people need that expertise, you can call on them. And also connections to markets. So think of it this way. We have 9 different countries that have had BDCs. We have alumni in all of those countries. Most of them are in Africa, but we have 2 in Asia. We had Bangalore, India, and we have Bangladesh. And so there are alumni in both of those companies. Bangalore isn't currently operating, but we still have the alumni. And so there's a community there that you can do, and Bangladesh is operating. And so I don't know, maybe someone would want to do business in India or Bangladesh. There's a connection, there's some connections to markets there that are built into that. So all of that is possible. Talk a little bit about mentors and volunteers. You know, BDC creates a lot of opportunities for volunteerism, for mentorship. We have a program called the VE program, and VE is either visiting executive or visiting entrepreneur. These are people with certain subject matter expertise that come and visit the BDC. They typically come for 1 week. So they volunteer a week of their time to come to the BDC and to coach and to mentor. Sometimes they will also do a seminar for the local business community. So we had a VP of Goldman Sachs come, and we were able to pull together the financial services community in Rwanda, and he talked about bond valuation and other kinds of things. They had the fledgling capital market there. And so that association partnered with us for that event, and so we were able to do that. We had Chick-fil-A, I think I mentioned Chick-fil-A to you, how we had them come and do customer service training, and so that was extremely successful. You heard Dr. Mulford talk about the guy who was the expert in insurance that came and talked about insurance with the insurance industry, and there are others. We did a series of these. We had a guy who has the fastest growing tech company in Australia, the second fastest in the Asia Pacific region, come. And he got so excited about what was happening in Rwanda that he actually moved to Rwanda and opened up his own ISP, Internet Service Providing Company, there in Rwanda as a result of that. And so that's kind of some of the fruit of the Visiting Executive Program. Let me tell you one more thing about that. One way that we do that is when we have a visiting executive coming, let's say for a week of time, they'll participate in the class sessions that take place during that week. In your case, since you're doing a Saturday program, they would be there that Saturday, and they would probably share a little bit and do that kind of thing. But we also inform all our alumni that they're coming, and there are slots on the calendar that they can sign up for if they want time. And then the current cohort can also sign up for time. And so that way we make sure that everybody that wants to have some time with them can, on a first come, first served basis. And so that's been extremely productive. Distance consultants, we used to run this as a program. Now it's more of a system, and the distinction is we don't administrate this anymore. We just, as a small think tank at a university, we don't have the bandwidth to administrate it, but we did in the beginning. We kept a database of people who said, I can't travel to this country or that country, but I'm willing to volunteer some of my time, and I can do Zoom calls. If you have people that need my expertise, and we had a lot of different expertise. You know, we had technology experts and various different people that said, I'm willing to offer my expertise as a distance consultant. And so there was a whole database. So what I would encourage you to do as a BDC is begin to build out that network. Begin to build out your database, because you have a vast network, I know you do, of people, and we'll help as well. I mean, anybody, if you say to us, hey, we need someone with this expertise, we're willing to dip into that. We just don't administrate the database anymore, but we'll certainly connect you if we can. Distance consultants meet sometimes on a regular basis, sometimes on a one-time basis, with a particular entrepreneur in the program that needs help with their expertise. Local mentors and professional service partners, I already mentioned alumni, but also network with other accountants, lawyers, and marketing experts, and people like that in the community that will provide local mentorship, and that's extremely valuable. PEP, prayer and encouragement part. We had a PEP program. These are intercessors. They may not be business experts, but they're intercessors who say, I want to pray for one of your entrepreneurs. And the way we would do that is at the beginning of the program and at the end of the program, we would ask, would you like a prayer and encouragement partner? No pressure. To our great delight, we had Muslim entrepreneurs in the program, they would say, I want a prayer partner. And so what they would do is they would meet. They would share their prayer request usually over Skype or Zoom. They would share their prayer request, and then that person would pray and encourage them. And it was a wonderful opportunity for witness, but we also had people, we have had people come to the Lord through these programs. We've had that. I think I shared the example of Richard and Patrice. But I remember, here I am, one of the authors of the curriculum and the founder of the BDC. I remember calling one of our graduates in Rwanda, and his prayer and encouragement partner was like a grandma. And she was such an encouragement. He was so blessed that she was a superstar. It's like, oh, it's just Jason calling me. Pfft, who's Jason? His prayer and encouragement partner was such a blessing in his life, because this lady was just really, really encouraging him, keeping up with him and praying for him. So all of these things are opportunities that we have. Let's talk about other revenue streams. So of course you have tuition revenue, but in addition to tuition revenue, some of our BDCs have developed other revenue streams. A couple of them have done value-added real estate. They've created a physical incubator accelerator space in addition to the curriculum. So the curriculum is kind of like the software, but they have a classroom and then co-working space and a physical incubator space as well that has created various streams of revenue for them. And so that's a good combination. There's a lot of synergy there, and so that's a good thing to do. Corporate training and consulting. We have several corporate trainings that we've developed, some diagnostic tools. Those are all available to you. They'll be in the library of resources. We have a performance management training that we developed that we've actually, we've won RFPs for that and done training with various organizations. There's a conglomerate called Horizons Rwanda that does all kinds of different things, and we did performance management training with them, and that was a source of income for the BDC. Customer care. We have customer care management training and a customer care frontline service training that are also available. So those are things that you can do, and sometimes you can find consultants that are willing to volunteer and work with the BDC to do that. So that is an opportunity. And these are all create some kind of synergy. Now the last one is not something, we haven't done this successfully, but we've had a number of people say that we should, and so I mention it only for that reason. And that's some kind of investment program where we invest in companies and then we have ROI from that investment that becomes an income source for the BDC. And so I've seen other groups do this successfully, but we haven't personally integrated that into what we're doing. Good, good. And that brings us to the conclusion. We're a couple minutes early. Anybody have any questions about any of that? Any clarification? Good. You sure? Any questions at all? All right. Well, thank you again so much for your attention. I hope this has been helpful to you. Yes. Good, good, good. All right. I see. I see that we have Lloyd with us. Welcome. So happy you're with us.
Jason, thank you very much. Wow. We've come to almost the end. But before we invite Lloyd, I would like to invite two former students. I'm trying to ambush them. Yusuf. Yes. Just for a few minutes, how was the experience when you were a student? What can you share? Then the other one can prepare.
Oh, thank you. So my name is Yusuf. I come from Iringa. So I was part of the BDC in Dodoma, and it was really a great experience for me. I used to travel with my wife, she's seated there. So we'd travel from Iringa to Dodoma every Saturday to attend this training. Well, that's about 4 hours, you know. And someone was asking me today, I think there's a friend who was asking, he said he was going to ask why I'm here all the way from Iringa. And then he said, I actually have the answer. I wanted to ask you, but now I have the answer. So I think you all see that this is a very variable experience. I mean, yeah, so I mean, after experiencing all this, you just feel like, wow. I've been in entrepreneurship for quite some time. I've been doing business a little bit. I've been teaching in the university. And we have a very interesting program at the University of Iringa. But this experience is very different, very, very different. And that's why I'm still part of this. I mean, apart from the training, which was really, really fantastic, we made very amazing connections with people who are real entrepreneurs. I think one of the things I realized is that I had settled for little. I felt like, you know. Yeah, so one of the things I discovered when I was doing the training was that I had settled for little. I was kind of comfortable making a few million shillings, and but I realized that actually I have a lot of potential, and I mean, God doesn't want us to just make a few million shillings. We can actually become big entrepreneurs and change the world. And I think this training really inspires you. You just feel like, oh, I can make it. And for me, I feel like we have a lot of potential in Africa, and we just need to change our thinking. And this training really helps you kind of, it's not just about motivational speaking, it actually shows you the way. And for me, that's why I'm part of this. And I really, really appreciate my brother Isaac and the entire team. I kind of getting closer to them, I got to know that actually it is not as easy, I mean, as we sometimes think. I think sometimes when people see maybe just on here and a few other people, you might think everything is, you know, Isaac is kind of having it easy, but it's just actually passion. And I really think this gentleman needs to be very much appreciated for having this vision and sticking to it. Yeah, so thank you so much. I don't know if you have questions, but for me that's the experience. And I'm ready to be part of it. I'm ready to support as an alumni and you know, to just be part of this journey. And as she comes, maybe I just mentioned that I am the one, I used to love learning, and for her, she sometimes would be a little bit hesitant to come for these kinds of things, but I managed to convince her, and she's now up there, you know.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Tuganile Jonas. I'm married to Yusuf Sesanga. We are from Iringa. Yeah, I mean, Yusuf has said it all. Personally, I think the training has changed my mind. No, I used to kind of believe that you cannot make money as a Christian. Like you have to do dubious ways for you to make it. But with the training and the people that I met during the sessions there, it gave me more boldness and belief in myself. Like, I believed in myself, and I was like, yes, I can make it. Now, the issue is, whenever we talk with my husband, I don't want to talk about this small money. I don't talk about this small business. That's the challenge, because my mind is geared into big money, because I'm changed. So whenever there's anything we have to discuss, I'm like, but that is little millions, please. Let's discuss about big figures. So that is something that has really changed in me. Because I was a bit fearfully, I didn't believe in myself. I was like, am I capable of doing this? I don't have connections. I don't come from these families where they have already, But with the training and the people I met, it made me stronger and believe in myself. And here I am. Actually, I'm one of the advocates of the program. I really tell my friends, but as Tanzanians, I don't know, we don't value this. We don't value education. And times people are ready to spend money in things that are not of value, rather than spending money on educating themselves. So this is a challenge we are facing out there. If it's people, you see they need this, but they don't see the need. So I'm happy that we are talking about the marketing, and to me that was very encouraging, and I think I will take it to another level so that people get to know and be part of the program. Thank you, and I'm happy to see you all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Atu. Any burning question, if you want to ask them, before I invite someone special? Wow.
Actually, thank you for the question. We attended the training with our business already there. We have a school. But after the training, we came up with other business ideas. And to me, it was a big change and an eye-opener. So we have schools in Iringa called Legacy Academy, a primary Nectar curriculum, and primary and secondary Cambridge curriculum. Yes, that's what we are currently doing, but we have other business in the pipeline, and that is a result of the training that we had in Dodoma. Yeah, thank you.
And maybe immediately after the training, we are able to open a branch in Dodoma. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's enough. I would like to introduce Dr. Ibrahim Mwangalaba. This gentleman from the beginning, from the day one of the BDC in Dar es Salaam, the pilot program. He attended the TOT. So he has been teaching from Dodoma, Dar es Salaam, and he even, when this one will start, he'll be coming. He's one of the best trainer from operations, finance, accounting. He's a banker. He's the Chief Executive Officer, the founding managing director of the Maendeleo Bank. Yeah. Doctor, come and tell us, how does it feel? What's the experience to be a facilitator or trainer of BDC Tanzania?
Huyu mheshimiwa anataka kunifunga huyu. Yeah, good morning. Praise the Lord. Yeah, let me correct a little bit. I'm not the best trainer. Yes, I'm just one. I'm just one of the trainer. Thank you very much. I'm Ibrahim. As Isaac has said, I'm the founding managing director of Maendeleo Bank. Maybe some of you, a few of you, you might be heard about Maendeleo Bank. It's not a big bank to that much, but it's a bank with a very unique background. And it was established by the church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Tanzania, especially the Eastern Coast Diocese in Dar es Salaam. Yeah, why the bank was formed? It was just to respond to the community challenges which we are faced, and they were going to the church asking for financial support, either to pay for school fees of their kids, to buy some foods, some clothes, and also some few coins to set up their small businesses. Now, the churches usually does not have money which could have given to this needy society. So now they thought, how now we can support this community? Yes, you understand the church have both the big ones, like Mama Haru, and the Reichs. Where's Mama Haru? Oh, yes. Yeah. And also the ones who don't, the poor ones, those they belong to the church. Now the church thought of how they can support the ones who don't have. Now they decided now to share with the church members to contribute or to build a pool of fund, which now can be used to support the needy society. But how? If you build a pool of fund and then you just support by giving, definitely it will reach a point where you may have any fund to support. So instead, they now created a fund and then established a bank which now will be facilitating managing of that pool of fund in terms of lending to a very favorable and affordable terms and conditions. Now, they came out with the idea of now setting up a bank through share purchase. So now they formed a committee in 2008, which now they had to go through the parishes. Our church, they have parishes, which now to train the members, the importance of investing in shares, the importance of owning a bank, which now will support the number of projects within the church and also number of projects within the church members. Eventually, it was a well-succeeded project. In 2011, they started selling the shares to the church members who are ready to buy. One share was sold at 500 shillings, and the minimum share was 100 shares, which means now the minimum share ownership was 50,000 shares. The reason was to accommodate each and everyone within the church. So now, by that time, the minimum capital for a small bank to be established by a central bank was 500 million shillings. By that time, 2008, 2011. Now the church has to go around in the parishes. Eventually, they managed to collect about 3 billion shillings within 2 years. And eventually also the BOT central bank changed their minimum capital for a small bank from 500 million to 2 billion, which of course still the church had enough money to set up the bank. In 2012, now they approached central bank to get the license to practice the bank. But you know, when you establish a company, the company law of Tanzania say that the minimum shareholding for a company, for limited company, is 2 shareholders, maximum is 50. So by then, the 3 billions was contributed by almost 3,000 parish members. So it means we had over 3,000 shareholders, which you don't qualify to be a limited company. So now we are advised now to go to the Capital Market and Security Authority to seek for a listing license. So now there's another regulatory requirement which we had to undergo, which of course we experienced. We went through the capital markets. They advised us on how best we can do that, and we wrote the prospectus, which of course eventually we got listed in November 2013. And then eventually we got a license from Central Bank of Tanzania as a regional bank on 9th September 2013. Now, before you start up as a listed company, you have now to prove to the community, to the public rather, how now you have now to issue the first, they call it IPO. Yes, now we had to issue the first IPO, initial public offer, in 2013 for 30 days. Now we committed to collect 1 billion in excess of the 3 billion. It was just to tell the public that we are listed. And then that will justify that you also attract the community to build up the share capital to support the bank's initiatives. And it was a good thing. Within the 30 days, we aimed to collect 1 billion shillings. Eventually, we ended up collecting 1.5 billion within 30 days. And then the total capital came to be 4.5 billion, which now was much enough to set up the bank. Now the bank opened its door on 9th September 2013 to the public. As we speak now, we are 10 years in operations. And we had we had our 10th anniversary last 2 months, if you remember. We had a big and the best marathon in the country, which was landed on the 2nd of September, with the aim of contributing to the society, the same, by buying the warmer bed to the infant baby, the premature baby at KCMC, and also to support the innovation of dormitories for the kids or children with mental disability in Dar es Salaam. So we managed to collect around 120 million shillings, which of course, Friday next week, we'll be handing over at about 10 warmer beds at KCMC as part of the CSR for the bank. Now, just to cut the story short, we thank God that as we speak now, the bank has grown to the level that from the 4.5 billion initial capital to now we have 18 billion capital. And from the 4.5 capital, we have now grown to form a total asset. The worth of the bank currently is around 118 billion. 118 billion. That's the worthiness of the bank as we speak now. And we have mobilized deposit from the public to the tune of 82 billion as I speak now. We have issued loans to the public about 72 billion, which is now this is the outstanding loans. But for the past 10 years, we have issued loans to the public about 240 billions. That's the total loans which have issued to the public. It has been paid up with the current outstanding amount of around 72 billion. And we are profitable since the second year of operations. It's contrary to the initial projection, which we expected to be profitable from the third year. You all know that the banking business, it is a heavy investment business. And the norm acceptable payback period is 5 years. And for our case now, we started earning profit from the second year of operations, well, even beyond the normal projected timeline. As we speak, we have been profitable for 8 consecutive years, from 2015 to date. And every time and even now, we are seeing our profit is growing. Last year, we crossed with 1.4 billion profit after tax. This year, of course, we are also expecting more than that. As I speak, for the third quarter, we had a profit of around 1.3 billion. And we expect to close around to 2 billion profits by December 2023. We have paid dividends 4 times, 2 times scrip dividend, and 2 times cash dividend. We have 4 branches in Dar es Salaam. We are opening another 5th branch by January this year for the one who Dar es Salaam in Mbagara. We are expecting to come to Arusha. That's the good news. We are expecting to come to Arusha. That's the reason why I forced my timetable to come to here today. It was not easy because now I have to offend my bishop seriously. Yes, I've offended my bishop. I'm a board member to the church university, which is Tumaini University. So today we have a graduation. So he instructed to be there, but I had to offend still to join this team. Now we are trying to come to Arusha next year, God willing. So we'll be communicating for the formal information by March next year after the final audits of 2023, which will be concluding on March next year. So that's Njiro Bank. And we have been supporting small business entrepreneurs, because knowing the origin of the bank, it was to support the needy society. So we are so positive, we are so geared to see the low income earners, they find a place where they can access the financing. And that's my key role, actually. And I have so built a big interest into that. And sometimes I take a very high risk, to the level that my colleagues, CEOs, they ask me, do you want to be fired? But I thank God that because we have a good intention to support them. So one of the very serious example, hard decisions which we made in last year was to support the Machinga. Now, for the benefit of our Lloyds, Machinga is matching guys. Yes, traders, street traders. They don't have a permanent press to where you can even locate them. But many of the banks, almost all of the banks, they are not interested to support them. But we did our study. We researched how they behave in the society, how they are getting connected to each other. They have their own leadership, which is very strong, but you must be very keen to understand them. And we had a number of discussions with the leadership, and then a number of pilot studies. Eventually, we got ourselves confident that this group of people, traders, they can be financed. And as we speak, we are the only and the first bank to finance Machinga seriously since last year. And we have financed over 5,000 of them. We're dishing out 6 billion shillings. And you can't imagine. In banking, we measure the quality of lending through the NPL, poor performing loans, the non-performing loans, NPL ratio. As per central bank regulations, you need to have not more than 5% NPL. It's very difficult to attain 5% for microfinancing. But see what? Under the Machinga, we are almost 2%. Yes, 2%. And as I speak, I can share with you some of my pictures. As we speak now, we are in a discussion with Machinga to build a Machinga estate. We want to bring them to life, because now they deserve to live the life of the Isaac and the others. And that's what we are. That's our passion. And the first time we want to build at least 400 houses, small but standard houses for Machinga. And last 2 weeks, I've been called by the DCs and the Regional Commission of Dar es Salaam to go and inspect the farm, the plots. They bought around 90 acres plot, with 90, which of course they are looking forward to set up the estates. Wataita kijiji cha Machinga, powered by Njiro Bank. Do you see? Yeah, so coming to BDC, actually I'm so honored to be part of this goods program. Thank you to my friend Jesse for taking trouble to see Tanzanians now they benefit from these good programs. And he's very committed, and honestly, he wants us to change. So it's now our time, it's now our decision to change ourselves. As part of the trainer, or rather now you are my colleagues, you are also trainers. One thing which I should understand is there's no monetary benefits. That should be very clear. I've been offering this service for now almost 10 years. I've been training for almost 10 years under these programs. Before the BDC Regent, we had another program under the same, this gentleman, Isaac. And now we are in BDC. And Isaac, Jesse, I don't know if you remember, the first training in Dar es Salaam, it was done on 11th of November, like today. It was 11th of November 2020. Yes, yes. Yeah, so it's a little blessing training, and I request you now to put up your minds. Of course, before that, you are so glad that this team comprised of a wealth of thinkers, wealth of people with experience, professors, doctors. They are sitting here. Lawyers, we have Mama Haru sitting there, and others. So I presume that these trainers will be the best trainer, I think. And this BDC in Arusha will be the best BDC because the composition of the team, the worthiness of the experience you have, and of course the level of commitments have been shared by Isaac, the serious people who are forming this team in Arusha. So my call is create a passion to help, to support this community. Just get a passion, love them, see how you have been blessed with what you have, which of course many of Tanzania they don't have. So now try to empty your head before you go down. Yes, empty your head before you go down, to ensure that now we have so many Yusufus and the other team who now will be now speaking good thing about you, and they'll be blessing the entire family on your absence. So I do advise the team here that let us put our mind together. Let us put our commitment together. This is seriously and a real community support. It's a pure, in a corporate world, we say CCR, corporate and social responsibility. You are offering to the community without expecting a return. So also do the same. Do the same. Give time. And I know most of these kind of engagements, they're so challenging in terms of people to be consistently committed. Yes. And this you may even end up having 2, 3 out of these 40 who are really available all the time. So I call upon you because I have the experience. In Dar es Salaam, we are also about 50 or 40. But now you find some of the classes having no even a trainer on that particular day. So I call upon every one of you to be seriously committed, since you have decided to support the community under this BDC. The value of BDC Arusha will only be created by yourself with the support of the product which will be now creating in the community. So otherwise, there's no one who will create the value to be valuable BDC in Arusha. It's ourselves here. We put our commitments, put our time, commit your time, commit to our time. That's the most challenging part in most of this kind of volunteering assignments. People, they don't value. Eventually, you get tired. You have your own paying activities somewhere else. So if you compare with this BDC, which you may not be getting some coins, you may put the third choice option. So I wish all the best, Jason, and I trust, as I said, this BDC Arusha, I expect to be among the best BDCs. So please just commit to yourself, your skills, experience, and love to share. I've been in banking for over 23 years. I've been mentoring entrepreneurs for almost over 10 years, and I have a number of them. Sometimes we make a crazy decision just after understanding the scenarios, which is not chronologically clearly known to everybody. But if you put your sound minds all together with the aim of supporting the team, you'll end up with a very positive and very impactful results. So I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim Mwangalaba. For the sake of time, I would like to end here. Maybe before I invite Lloyd, I was privileged to be invited to attend one of the best forums in the world, the US Africa Business Forum in US Washington. And while I was there was a breakfast meeting with investors and our president. And during the session, there was a Q&A session. The president wanted to hear some views and some wisdom of what to do from the top investors that were in the room. And Lloyd, now I didn't know even by then by his name. So I was impressed by his confidence, the way he was addressing national issues, the way, to the extent our president invited him, like wishing to see him coming to Tanzania. So the moment that session ended, I went straight to him. There's a way I didn't know even he was a Christian, neither he was a kingdom man. I didn't know. That was the first time I saw him. This is how I met him. So I went straight to him with such a high level risk of asking him to mentor me. You can't mentor me if you're not a kingdom man. And I didn't know if he was a kingdom man. So I asked him straight, I want you to mentor me. I'm asking for your business card. He didn't respond. He gave me his business card. I started to chase him, like for 6 months or so. Call, no response, no what. One day, I just sent him something. He saw it. He remembered. He called. We met. The rest is history. Lloyd Ward. You're most welcome. So he's now one of my official mentors.
I'm amazed at the work. I don't know why I'm amazed at the work God does, but it's amazing. That's why. Our God is amazing. And Dr. Abraham, let me congratulate you on what you have done, my brother. This is truly the new Africa. And while you're a banker and with very good credentials, you are an entrepreneur. And I think we should give him a round of applause. And I would ask you to honor us by sharing your contact information with Godfrey Simbe. And we offer to help you. But in the world of entrepreneurialism, there's a boomerang. You know a boomerang? Yes. And the boomerang is we ask you to help us. You see, we are stronger together. And so, you say this is the end? You are the one going to conclude by today, around 1 p.m. I don't accept that. This is not the end, this is the beginning. Jason, are you with me? And guess what? It's already begun. I'm not going to make remarks. I do want to open this up for Q&A, and anything you want to know, ask. I don't know if I have the answers, but I will give you my best. I will give you the best of me. And I do want to start with one thing, though. I did plan to do something very different than I did yesterday, but when I got here and heard what was going on, I thought what I shared with you might be more appropriate. Do you remember it? First, dare to dream and have the courage and conviction to work to make your dreams a reality. Faith without works is what? Dead. When you pray, don't pray for the outcome. Pray that your work be blessed to deliver God's will and God's way. Do you understand? Yes. God will bless the work of kingdom, not an idle outcome, no matter how grand it is. We must work in kingdom. Next, operate not just out of your memory, but your imagination. Are you operating out of your imagination? Dr. Abraham, did you have to operate out of your imagination? Were the rules there for you to achieve what you've achieved? Did you have to break rules to get to where you are? Are you breaking rules now? Dare to dream. Operate out of your imagination, not just your memory. Walk with elephants. You know any elephants in this room? I just met an elephant. Dr. Abraham's an elephant for me. I'm coming your way. I'm an ant that want to walk with you. Break the rules. You know you have to earn the right to break the rules. You know what earning the right to break the rules means? You got to understand why the rule is there. Don't break a rule if you don't know why it's there. You don't know what you're doing. You can only break a rule for kingdom when you know why that rule is there. And then you break it for what? For better. You don't break it because you don't like it. You don't break it because it's harder. You break it because it's the pathway to kingdom. And if God is with you, who can be against you? And love adversity. I don't know an entrepreneur anywhere in the world that's ever achieved anything that didn't face adversity. Dr. Abraham, have you faced adversity in getting where you are? All of you that are walking in kingdom, are you facing adversity? You see, the devil is alive and well. You don't think the devil is well? Everything we do in kingdom will have resistance. That's why you should embrace adversity. It helps you walk in kingdom. Now, it's who we are, it's what we do. Remember the three things? What I do, why I do it, and what difference will it make? Please ask yourself that question all the time. That's kingdom. What am I doing? How am I spending my time? Why am I doing it? And what difference will it make? Okay. So what I want to do now is take you to a different place. I need 2 volunteers. 2 volunteers, if you come up. Come up. Thank you. And what we're going to do is explore together
What is it for? I said to her that this is a rope which Lloyd wanted to demonstrate something. But he changed his mind when he came and heard what Jason was facilitating. He said, no, I will change, I will not use the rope. So he said, she asked me a question. So are you not going to use it at all? I said, we don't know, maybe we'll use it tomorrow. He said, I want you to use tomorrow and I will keep it for you until tomorrow. So she took the rope, and when we came today, Lloyd was telling me, you remember the lady who took the rope? I said, yes. Could you ask her to bring it now? So I sent her a message because a good thing I had her number. So she brought it. So it's out of her curiosity, she wanted to know why we are carrying the ropes. So you will see why we carried the ropes. Thank you so much.
So in life, we often face challenges. And the challenges don't necessarily have obvious answers. And yet the answer is obvious. So how might we think about this as we walk in kingdom? oftentimes you have to leave to do the work of kingdom. You will walk in your kingdom walk, you will walk in yours. So you come together and you learn from each other. Now you need to go and do your work in kingdom. I'd like you to go this way and you to go that way. We are faced with challenge. Your challenge now. Escape the bounds that limit you to pursue kingdom. Please go ahead. Find a way to separate yourself. No. Don't do that.
We cannot untie?
No.
Cannot untie. Okay.
There is a way. By the weight of others. How many of you face, do I give up or do I continue on? This is our world. This is the pathway to kingdom. And the requirement is we never give up. And so we can have a lot more fun with this, but I'm going to show you something. Please separate. Go your way. Go your way. Please, go. Go, 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 go. He didn't untie it. I didn't loosen it. In fact, come back, come back, come back. Come back. Come back. Stand, just stand. I'm going to do it one more time. You ready? Step back. Mhm. Step back. Are they together? Don't loosen. Oh. Oh, he said, I can do what you did. Now this is the way to kingdom.
Yes.
We learn from each other.
Yes.
That's true.
Please. We think things are impossible. Nothing's impossible with God. We need to always be in faith. In faith, we know it is not about us. It is about God. If we serve His will and His way, for those with vision, what does God do? He provides what? Provision. Do you realize that Africa has the greatest provision of all the lands on earth? God would not have made Africa the most resource abundant land on earth and expected scarcity for its inhabitants. This is a souvenir for you. Okay, so let's open the floor for questions. And please, anything is fair game, no matter. I don't know if I have answers, but I can give you the best thoughts I have. What God has helped me see, do, and understand, I will share with you. Questions?
Loud enough, okay. Thank you very much. So my name is James Mwangamba. I'm the leader of an organization called African Trade Network, and I'm a facilitator of BDC. I've done a number of programs at Dodoma, and one of the things that I've enjoyed all the times I've come is to network with all kinds of people. For example, right now I'm seated with someone that I've been looking for 10 years. He's actually my relative. My father has always said, you need to look for Simbeye. And I've tried so much, and look, he's seated right here with me today. So, Mwangamba, yeah? Mwakata. Okay, we won't go there. So, I'm so glad. And today I've seen my brother Mwangalaba. I hope that loan will now be approved. That you and I have. So, it's really an opportunity. I actually wanted to ask 3 questions. I don't know if I can. I'll start with him, and then I think one will be for you, I suppose, and then back to you. Maybe I'll start. Mr. Mwangalaba, if you were today to start another bank, which is not Christian, completely unchristian, just regular bank, what kind of a gap or a need that you are seeing that all these about I think 45, 50 banks are not filling it up. And so this new bank would do that, yeah? And then over to Jason, I think the question I have is, you've said that this program is in 9 countries, I think? More than 9 countries. Could there be a program where the alumni or even the entrepreneurs in these different countries are able to connect and even travel? Say, for example, if you're in Rwanda, can you organize for, let's say, this cohort, for example, some of the people that are ready to travel there and exchange knowledge or even do business there or invest there? I think that way it'll become a richer experience and a lot more people are going to benefit. Because one of the things that limits us is this thing called borders, you know, that the colonial masters put. So by actually breaking these boundaries using the people that are in the program, it can become a much richer experience. So I wanted to hear the answer to that. Finally now, to Brother Lloyd, thanks for the exercise. I do a lot of team building programs, and I thought I would figure that out.
You would have if I gave you more time.
Yeah, I guess so. I suppose so. So when we read the books, and I've been reading books about, you know, entrepreneurialism for like, I don't know, maybe 15 years or so, we see that it's very normal to hear lots of stories of American entrepreneurs, you know, making, you know, billions of dollars or millions of dollars. And when you reflect back here, you know, it seems that it's so hard to break through or succeed, I guess, in Africa with those larger numbers. So are those numbers always inflated, or is that a reality? You know, because you will read a book and be like, I think tomorrow I'm going to be. And then you realize that it's so hard sometimes. You know, I've done a number of businesses, and it's really not an easy journey. So do you have a different culture, or a different system, or a different mindsets, different policies? What is it about you in America that differentiates us from this continent? Thank you.
What marvelous questions. Dr. Abraham, will you join me? And then Jason, you're here, please. And please, the 3 of us are at your disposal. Dr. Abraham, if you would answer the first one, we'll pass the mic so we get good quality of sound.
Thank you very much. I think the question could have been answered very well by your neighbor. Yes. Yes, yeah. By the way, Lloyd, Simbe has been running our private sector in the country, I think for over 10 years. And your absence has little felt. So I do congratulate you so much, and we miss you seriously. Yes, seriously. Yeah, yes, you said if now I to start a bank, a new bank, which is not a Christian bank, what the gap which I... One thing which I would like to bring to your attention is whether you are a Christian bank or you are not a Christian bank, you are using the same principle of banking. It's the same principle. You use the same regulatory framework. You use the same business environment, but you need to understand your clients. And you need to segment properly whom you want to serve as your client. And therefore, you understand your clients properly, and you'll be able to develop products suitable to the specific segment. So if I am to start a bank, whether it's a Christian bank or not a Christian bank, first we have to identify ourselves what's the problem which you want to solve. So from there now, it will be so easy to match your problem solving and the problem in the community.
Sorry, but there's still room, because there are like 50 banks. There's still room for someone to start a new bank today, or the environment will be so difficult.
Yeah, in the country, we have 44 banks, but the penetration, real penetration into the markets, if you disregard the digital part, is almost 15%. Just imagine now, it's 15%. We are over 61 million population in the country. Now, if you include the digital, the mobile banking, it goes up to 75 or 80. Now, there's a big room for any bank or financial solution provider to create finance access or to the business entrepreneurs. So we still have a room, big room. And in top of that, of the 15% penetration, there are over 2,000 non-deposit taking microfinance. Still the room's there. There are more than 800 non-registered SACCOs, but still the room's there. So whether you start a bank now, you still have a big room. You must differentiate yourself, the segment which you want to solve their problem. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think this is a wonderful idea. In fact, it's happened informally to some extent. There's been cross-pollination between the BDCs, but I would like to see it happen more formally. And in fact, maybe I'll revisit this with Dr. Mulford when I return to Virginia, because I think that would be great. And so, you know, the pandemic was a bit hard on the BDCs globally. And so after here, I'm leaving for Uganda. While I'm in Uganda, I hope to meet with our former director there and do some things. But I think this is a fantastic idea. Like I said, it's happened informally. This is how it's happened. We've had graduates or people in the cohorts come to us and say, I would like to connect with somebody in such and such a country. And we, on an ad hoc basis, we would make those connections and that kind of thing. But to see it actually, you know, to have something like a social network that included alumni, that would be fabulous, and I would love to see something like that develop. It's a great idea.
Thank you, Jason. And what a triad of questions, and they're really excellent. So in the U.S., there's a different system, no question about it. Entrepreneurialism is the core of economic development in the U.S. Entrepreneurialism is trying to find its way in Africa. Now, what's different in the U.S.? Entrepreneurs can get capital. Look, there's no industrialization, no successful entrepreneurs if you don't have capital. That's why Dr. Abraham is so important, and all of his colleagues in financial institutions. The problem here is that we're asking the banks to do something that's not in their DNA. You're asking a commercial bank to take a risk loan. They don't. They'll loan you the money, but they got to be assured they get the money back. And if they're not assured about that, you got to collateralize it. How are they assured about that? Give me 3 years of history. Show me your pro forma. Show me your financial results for 3 years, and show me that you can make enough money on a consistent basis to pay back the loan that I'm going to give you. And guess what? That is the right question for them to ask. That is their DNA. And we're saying, no, don't do that to me. And then they say, okay, well, I don't have that. I need a little help to get started up. And they say, okay, well, what assets do you have? And the assets is just collateral. If you can't pay, they're going to get it another way. You see, they are dealing with depository receipts from people to put money in their bank to protect and to grow marginally. You don't put money in a bank to create wealth. You put it in to protect your fund. You can't ask that money to fuel entrepreneurialism. And that's what we're trying to do in Africa, and it doesn't work. And so entrepreneurs are going there, and when we started, and Godfrey knows this, that in the cashew nut industry, entrepreneurs were facing, check this out, Dr. Abraham, 16 to 21% in working capital. In the US, we face 5 to 7%. So is there a different system? You better believe it. And also, it's getting capital, access to capital. It's not only the cost of capital, but it's access to capital. In the US, we have angel funding. All the work that we've done in my company to date to develop a platform for a multi-billion-dollar IPO that we'll be bringing to the market next year on a Dar es Salaam stock exchange and sister stock exchanges throughout, organizing all 15 countries, cashew-producing countries throughout all of Africa. Transformative economic platform has been funded by what? Angel funding in the US. I have no institutional funding, no bank. No bank would fund me. But in the US, there is a different system. Angel funding, venture capital. You have venture capital? Okay, So entrepreneurs that can't find a way, there's venture capital. Venture capital takes a high percentage of your business, bets with you, gives you money, gives you support, operating technical support. And venture capital, they give entrepreneurs the right to fail. Now, one or two. You need a lot more. So here's the deal. In venture capital, they look for 2 out of 10 wins. They don't ever invest in anything that they think won't win, but they know many won't. They know entrepreneurialism. They know when you're creating and you're reaching for something that doesn't exist, finding new pathways. And if you can convince a venture capitalist that you understand your market, that you know the money in your business, and that you have a way to serve the customer that's better than someone else, you can get funding in the U.S. So we have angel funding, venture capital. In the commercial bank, they have senior debt and junior debt. They do mezzanine financing. That's financing between what you can get in the banking institution and what you can get outside the banking institution. You're still short. There's money that can spread the difference, called mezzanine financing. We have private equity. We have the capital markets in the U.S., that's the stock market, public trade market, is robust. It's the lowest cost of capital from debt, what you share is equity. You share equity, and you don't pay shareholders for the use of their money. You share the profits in the business through dividends and enterprise value growth. That's what we're doing. We'll have the lowest cost of capital available in the world with our IPO to transform the cashew nut subsector. And I told Godfrey when we started, one of the things we have to do is crack the code on the cost of capital and access to capital in Africa. I'm an experienced CEO. We have the most transformative, and if you look at our financial model, you have only one thing that you can do, and that's believe it. It is that strong. And still, we can't get a bank to finance it. But guess what? I wouldn't ask a bank to finance it. And so there's a different system because there's a different understanding. Do you realize that the industrialization of America was by entrepreneurs? You see, Henry Ford was an entrepreneur. J.P. Morgan Chase, the big banking institution, that was a man. That was a man like Dr. Abraham. He may be the J.P. Morgan Chase of Africa, and I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. J.D. Rockefeller, probably the greatest, and he's the most notable of all the industrialists in the U.S. At one point in time, he had 90% of the oil market in the U.S. Can you imagine having 90% of the oil market in the U.S. of A? He was so strong, the government had to break him up. They called him a monopoly. They broke him up into several smaller companies, and guess what? He made more money. Entrepreneurs, a gentleman named Vanderbilt built the railway system. And so here's the thing. Africa will realize, and it's part of the message that we're bringing, that economic development is the pathway to the future, financial future of Africa. For Africa to be included in the mainstream of global commerce and social discourse, Africa has to be stronger economically. And that economic development will not come from philanthropy and aid. It will come from commerce. Big commerce. There needs to be, and we hope that we're part of creating a tsunami of entrepreneurialism throughout all of Africa that will fund entrepreneurs and give them the right to succeed. And when you do that, you have to provide the provision that they may fail. And that's what we have in the U.S. We're allowed to dream. We're encouraged to dream. And alone. And I see too many Africans, too many of us we try to do it alone. And you can't. You can build a business to have a better life alone. But if you want to build a transformative platform to serve the market, and improve the economic conditions of you and others, you have to do it in partnership with others. Thank you for that question. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. I have 3 questions. Might be a little bit personal. We are so much used of seeing, people from the US or from the UK. They come here in Africa. They have a secret agenda. They don't really want to help us. But you look different. you look so different, really. And we listened to you yesterday. You're very much connected to Africa. And my question is, why are you doing what you're doing for us? It's a bit a personal question. We really want to see more of your heart. Because people like you from the 514 companies, you should be in a yacht somewhere there, just enjoying life. But you're here. I think you can, we want to hear from your heart more. The second question, you tried a bit to touch from what James has just asked you. What should we do? We as Africans, you gave us yesterday the statistics. Like the whole of Africa, we are contributing only 3% of the global economy. What should we do? What should we do to increase that? At least maybe 30%, 40% there. Yeah, and then my last question, this will be very specific for Tanzania. Most people, they think that we have gold. We have these mineral resources. We think that we have diamond. We don't. They belong to Barrick. We don't. So another question, what should we do to own them back? That's another one. Yeah, so thank you.
I can see that the depth of thinking in Africa is what's required now for transformation. Until you can ask the right questions, you won't seek the right solutions. Thank you so much for those questions on top of the 3 we've already had. Why me? It's because here's one thing that you will discover. When you, through God dealing with you directly, understand your purpose for Him putting you on this planet, you are no longer confused. So I have a choice now to work in service of God or to be on a yacht or a beach or playing golf, which I love to do. I was an avid golfer. I haven't played golf now for 5 or 6 years. I was a member of Augusta National. Any of you hear that club? I was a member of Augusta National. So I was a serious golfer. And so I can pursue those things, those earthly things, or I can do what God has called me to do. I have but one thing I'm doing for the rest of my life, and that is serving God in a way that I'm worthy of His grace, His love, and when He sees me at the pearly gate, He says, "Well done, my son." So that's the why. The second question, and please share that with me again. The second question.
You said what should the Africa? You said
What should we do?
What should we do?
Okay.
The global 3%. What
No.
should we do to go to 40%?
Yeah, so the why of 3% is because Africa monetized almost everything that is grown or extracted from our land as raw materials, as commodities, as the lowest value in the global supply chain. And the only pathway forward is to have economic development, value addition, consumer and industrial goods packaging, branding, and selling directly into the global market. Now, I've said a lot there. And Africa's on the move. For 3 decades, the cashew nut industry has been doing industrialization. 10% of the cashew nut crop that's harvested is industrialized to C and K, from raw cashew nuts to cashew nut kernels. It doesn't work. Hasn't taken full. Why? It's because there's 2 basic kinds of industrialization. There's supply chain industrialization. I'm industrializing from the source, the farm, to an intermediate product, cashew nut kernels, that are bought by brokers, dealers, traders, and then they sell it to someone else, and ultimately it ends up in the market. That's supply chain industrialization, and it happens all the time. It will not work in many subsectors. It didn't work in cashews. But what happens if you go from raw material to the market, not to the supply chain? In the supply chain, a broker, dealer, trader, he has one objective: buy low, sell high. They have a small margin on a large volume. That's their business model. Don't ask them to pay the farmers more. They can't. They have narrow margins. And we have been industrializing into that, what they call buyer, the wholesale buyer, the supply chain buyer. What we need to do is we're under the water and we haven't seen the landscape of the world. We need a periscope to come above the water like a submarine and look at the landscape of the world and see the market and know how the raw materials that are harvested in this land, that what is grown on this land, how does it serve the market? Not what more value can I get in the supply chain. When you understand how it serves the market and you do the financial engineering to say, is there economic value to industrialize it as there is in cashews, avocados, cassavas, grape, coffee, cotton? When you look at the market is where the economic value resides. So what must we do? We must connect the farm, the farmers, the harvest, the output, what is extracted from your land, the gold, the diamonds that you don't own. And I'm going to talk to that one in a minute. To the point of extraction and or development in U.S., creation in Africa, to the markets that they serve around the world. And Godfrey, if only I had the money game. We can illustrate that. You have to be able to, we have 3 principles. Know and serve your market, follow the money. If you follow the money in supply chain industrialization for cashews, when I was asked to help 4 years ago, it took me 2 days to determine all that we were doing in Africa for the last 30 years would not work. It's you were tied together and step in between and trying to, and doing work. And it took me 2 days to say that there's not enough money in supply chain industrialization. We have to what? Leapfrog to the market. So we created, our model is market-driven industrialization. That's what we call it, right, Martin? Godfrey? Yes. MDI, we're taking market-driven industrialization to the public markets for the Africa cashew harvest, and we're doing that with a multi-billion-dollar IPO. That's what we have to do different. And I will tell you this, you think that's the only opportunity? We have that opportunity not only in other agricultural crops, we have that opportunity in vastly what's extracted from the lands of Africa. You have to understand this, that the world cannot pursue the advanced world that we are pursuing without African resources. Do you understand that? African resources are required for the world to advance. So the question will be, are we going to continue to just participate in the world and the world's economy with raw materials and commodity products? What has to be different is we have to move up the supply chain, and ultimately we must reach the market. We're leapfrogging the cashew nut industry 30 years, all the way to the market. God prepared me. He forged me by fire to be able to see, do, and understand what's required to make this happen, to show the way that will be transformative in that one crop and could show the way for others to follow. We share everything we do broadly. Do you understand that? We shared with a cartel. Those are the ones that benefit from the system that exists today in cashews. The cashew cartel. We talked to the head of the cartel. It's not a concept. People and organizations, people are making billions of dollars today. So the people that are right now making all the money by the cashews going into India and Vietnam, okay, call them the dragons, because we want to disintermediate them. We want to eliminate them. So 4 years ago, we went and talked to them when we first started. Can you imagine that, Dr. Abraham? We went and talked to them. And we told them what we saw and what we thought the future of Africa could be. We told them there's more economic value in doing that than what they're getting in the current exploitation of Africa. We asked them to walk with us. You see, that's how bold you can be when God is with you. Please.
I just want to add something. When Lloyd came to Tanzania, he showed us, showed the cashew processors and everybody, even in the government, all the most of the permanent secretaries, ministries. He played what he called the money game. And I'll not do the detailed one, but because he did the detail, he did it with money, you know. But I'll not do it with money. I just go to the high figures. Lloyd and his team, they come up with they showed us how much we are losing as Africans, as Tanzanians. The cashew nut harvest in Tanzania is 250,000 metric tons a year, roughly. It goes down sometimes, but we take it as 250,000. Monetization of that one, we only process 10%, but for the purpose of this explanation, let's say that we sell everything outside the country, because we sell 90%. So monetization of the 250,000 metric tons, because you have 1,000 kilograms to a ton. So you are talking about 250 million kilograms. So monetization of that one is $1. The price of a cashew nut here, the raw cashew nut, is about 2,300, 2,400. So it's about 1 kilo. It's about $1 per kilo. So it means we're monetizing that one. What we get is only $250 million here in this country. That's the money that remains in this country. You know, so they took a research. They undertook a very detailed research. What happens if this crop leaves this country? How much money is made outside this country? You know what, Mwangaba, can you guess? Can you guess how much?
Maybe $1 billion?
Not even $1 billion. Is more than $2 billion. $2 billion is made outside this country. And that's why when you ask the question, why is it different? He wants that money to come back here. That's what he wants.
Yeah, that's follow the money. And that's one of the sessions that, where's Isaac? Isaac, okay. That's one of the things that I'd like to, with you and Jason, develop a module around that in entrepreneurial development. Really the three principles: know and serve your market, follow the money, and act in unity.
Can you say them again?
Know and serve your market, follow the money, and act in unity. So act in unity, what that is, you know what the requirement now is for Africa to realize its promise and provision from heaven and leapfrog and become a part of the global commerce? What's the unity? Government, right? What is government's role? Government's role is this: to create for entrepreneurs the infrastructure for economic development for the nation. What does that mean? Roadway, railway, highway, clean water, affordable energy.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what then is the responsibility of entrepreneurs? Economic development, economic activity. What's going over the roadways? What's in the railways? What's in the containers? Does it make money? How much money does it make? Follow the money. And so the key here is that entrepreneurial it's the entrepreneurial credo is to create economic value by taking something of one value, a commodity or raw material, processing it in some way to create and gain higher value. That's all industrialization is. That's all it is. And so it is through entrepreneurial development that the economies of Africa will grow. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, one more. What was the last question? Oh yeah, you don't own the diamonds. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. So here's the good news, is that after 300, 400 years of colonialism and mass extraction of Africa's resources, raw materials and precious metals and even human capital, their ships weren't big enough to get it all. Africa has been so abundantly blessed with resources, and now even the human resources, 1.3 billion people, growing to be the largest populated continent on Earth by 2050. And so God knows, right? Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. And so while much of Africa's resources, you can't get what's already been exploited, and you can't get back what you've already given to others under fair and free agreements. You can try. Zimbabwe did that. Zimbabwe kicked out the white farmers. And they suffered their economy for 10 years. They're just now getting back. You can do that. But it's not the right way. It's certainly not kingdom. So here's what God has done. He's provided Africa with the land and the resources in the land to have made vast allocations of the resources of Africa under those that would exploit us, and he's got far more available for us to steward in kingdom. There are still vast deposits of the materials and precious metals that are needed for a modern society still being discovered in Africa. Still being discovered. You see. And so what we have to do is accept and honor what has happened. And we need to have our eyes open for new ways. And so deals now where the Chinese are buying certain resources for 50 years. Deal where Chinese, in the Congo, they're coming in with bulldozers and backhauls, and they're scraping the land, the actual land, and putting it into dump trucks and taking it on barges and shipping the land, the dirt, to China, and leaving a ravaged landscape behind. And they sort through the land of what they're getting, and it's all kind of incredible precious metals and industrial materials. And so the new way here has to be that government and private practice need to work together to steward the resources that God has given us. And to do it in a way where we are responsible, a sustainable planet. Africa is the only place where you really can get true organic, because farmers can't afford the chemicals that are used in the rest of the world, that, by the way, are all pathogens and shouldn't be consumed. Africa can face the world in a way that we can stand tall and claim God's promise and provision to Africa. Let what's happened happen, and learn the lessons of that, and find a pathway to kingdom going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lloyd. Just by your information, if you're not aware, Lloyd will have another time today during the evening for an event which you are all invited. If you still don't have an invitation card, kindly see our father, Dr. Kimaro. He will give you one. Second, I would like to ask for something special to do about prayer. To pray about the BDC here in Arusha. We have a team of 6 people. They have volunteered themselves to champion this assignment. So the door is still open for more, but I would like to ask our senior advisor and mentor, Dr. Kimaro, together with Engineer Mzava. I'm aware Dr. Mshana is not around. Yes, this is our elder, our senior advisor for the BDC here in Arusha, but they have a team of 3 people that are assisting: Advocate Imani Kaduma, Dr. Haika, and Fred. Just to come here, and I would like to ask the bishops and the pastors here just to do a special prayer for grace, anointing, and energy, divine speed and provision to make this a reality. We have purposed and made a decision on 27th of January. We will start a class here. So we need to pray for that. We need to ask for divine favor on that. Baba, karibu. Karibu maaskofu, wachungaji 2, 3, 4 kwa ajili ya kuomba. And then we will go to do a vote of thanks. Watumishi, just to a prophetic sign, tuwazunguke kwa ulinzi wa Mungu, neema ya Mungu, just for 2-3 minutes, then we slowly, instrumental. Tunaomba wimbo wa kuabudu wa taratibu. So, we'll also ask all of us to pray for them. Just speak blessings, divine protection. But the bishops will be leading one after another.
Yesu,
Karibu.
umeinuliwa juu, twakuabudu, umeinuliwa, inuliwa juu. Yesu,
Just lead us and to pray for them.
Yesu,
Tunaombea kwa pamoja.
umeinuliwa, twakuabudu leo. Yesu, oh, you are.
Baba mtakatifu, Mungu wetu wa milele, katika jina la Yesu Kristo. Wewe ni Mungu, wala hakuna mwingine kama wewe. Tunakutukuza, tunakuheshimu, tunakuabudu, tunanyenyekea mbele za uso wako Bwana. Wewe ni Mungu ambaye ni asili ya mabadiliko, lakini wewe ni Mungu usiyebadilika. Umekuwa mwamba kwetu, jabali letu na kimbilio. Ninakushukuru kwa sababu ya watumishi wako hawa ambao wamesimama mbele yetu wakati huu Bwana, ambao Mungu umeweka moyo na msukumo kwa ajili ya kuanza kazi ya ufalme katika mkoa wetu wa Arusha na hata kuendelea nje ya mkoa wa Arusha. Baba, ni moyo wa pekee sana ambao unakuhitaji wewe Mungu unayejua asili na mwanzo na ni nini unachopenda Bwana ulimwengu ukione. Tumekuwepo kama kanisa lakini tukiwa vipande, lakini Mungu wakati huu umekubali kutuunganisha kwa ajili ya agizo kuu tuweze kuitenda kazi ambayo Bwana kwa hiyo umetuitia. Bwana, umewainua watoto wako, umewainua Bwana ambao wamekuwa watangulizi wetu. Bwana wa majeshi, ninakusihi katika uweza utakao juu, mguse kila mmoja kwa jina lake. Wale ambao Bwana umewaweka mbele yetu saa hii ninawaweka wakfu kwa mamlaka ya jina la Yesu Kristo. Naomba neema izidio, neema ipitayo, neema ya pekee ikapate kuwa juu yao Bwana Mungu mtakatifu, na sisi tukiwashika mkono kwa kuomba na kwa kuwasupport kwa kila namna, mkono wako Bwana ukapate kuwa juu yao. Tunategemea kuwa na darasa mwezi wa kwanza tarehe 27 Bwana Mungu wa milele. Ninaweka mipango yote, taratibu zote, kila hitaji linalotakiwa. Mungu, mkono wako ukahusike. Usika kwa kila mmoja ambaye Bwana wa majeshi yuko mbele yetu hapa. Usika kwa kila kiongozi ambaye Bwana wewe ndio unayewateua na wewe ndio unayewasimamisha viongozi. Mungu wa kweli, tunakusihi katika jina la Yesu, Roho Mtakatifu aingilie kazi hii na ikatendeke kwa utukufu wa jina lako. Ninasimama kinyume na kila ufalme wa giza ambao mara zote umekuwa ukipinga kazi yako, umekuwa ukikataa na kuzuia kazi yako isiende. Bwana, katika hili tunafunga kila mlango ambao ni kinyume na mapenzi yako. Baba wa milele, wabariki. Baba wa milele, wape afya njema. Baba wa milele, gusa fahamu zao kwa ajili yetu na kwa ajili ya taifa kwa ujumla. Ninakushukuru kwa sababu Bwana utaenda kutenda mambo makuu kwa utukufu wa jina lako, katika jina la Yesu. Hallelujah.
Dear Lord, I preserve them in the blood of Jesus. I pray for their mind, their understanding, a divine direction upon them. I pray for whoever will participate in this. Father, I pray, let there be a divine direction, a divine impartation. I pray even for the students, for the people who will come to learn, that Lord, there are going to be a divine understanding in their mind. Baba, ninaomba ufahamu wako wafunike. I speak blessings upon them in Jesus' name.
Amina. Bwana asifiwe. I will ask, we end it here, for Lloyd, Mr. Mwangalaba, Mama Mahalu, and Mr. Simbe to go out just for 5 minutes. There's something you will be informed about. And I will hand over the mic to Engineer Mzava to proceed. And eventually Mama Mahalo will do the vote of thanks. Sorry. Baba ungefanya shukrani wakati nakuja kama kwa Arusha, kwa niaba ya Arusha.
Watu wa Mungu, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Nichukue nafasi hii kwa unyenyekevu kabisa nikishukuru mwitikio mkubwa sana ambao Arusha mmeuonyesha. Naomba mjipongeze kwa kujipigia makofi mazito. Ninajua sio rahisi sana kitu kinachoanza usikie tu alafu uweze kujitoa kwa siku 3 mfululizo na kuwepo na kujifunza, lakini ninamshukuru Mungu sana kwa ajili yako. Lakini pia niseme ndio mwanzo wa transformation ya kufanya vitu tofauti katika Tanzania, lakini sana katika mkoa wetu wa Arusha. Kwa hiyo tumefika mwisho, na jioni tunatakiwa tuende pale Grand Melia kushiriki kufunguzi rasmi wa program hii, ambao wewe ni mshiriki na pia umekuwa sasa ni mkufunzi. Basi nikuombe ujaribu kuwepo. Hizi kadi sijui kama tunaweza kupata kwa kila mtu, lakini participants tutakuintroduce hata kama kadi hukuwa nayo. Ila kwa wale waliopata kadi, hizi kadi normally ni za mtu mmoja, sio za Mr. na Mrs. Hizi ni mwaliko kwa jina lako. Kwa hiyo uje kwa jina lako. Kwa hiyo ni washukuru kwamba tumefika mwisho. Tufike mahali pa kuomba kwa ajili ya chakula ambacho ni hando mic kwa ajili ya Dr. Mzava. Basi nimkaribishe Dr. Mzava
At walk through dakika 2-3 ndipo tufunge formally. Asante.
Bwana asifiwe. Watu wa Mungu, Bwana asifiwe. Nazungumza kwa Kiswahili makusudi. Sasa nataka tujue sisi wenyewe ninachokisema. Wale ambao wanifahamu naitwa Mzava, Tunzo, Twazihirwa. Wanapenda kunita Mzava TT. Ndio majina yangu. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Mimi naanza ujasiriamali kidogo kidogo. Na operate kampuni 2 kwa kweli. Moja hapa Tanzania, Zo Consultant Firm, kwa consultants. Moja inaitwa Educo Company Limited. Tunafanya capacity building katika maeneo yote from theology down to business. Tunafanya vyote. Lakini Bwana ametupa pia kampuni kule South Sudan inaitwa Kilimanjaro Nile Corridor. Iko Juba. Tunafanya general merchandising and consultants. Lakini labda hivi karibuni Bwana tupa nyingine, tutafungua nyingine kule Nuba Mountains kule Sudan. Tutafikiri tunapenetrate kule kwa watu wanaitwa Wanuba. Tunakwenda sehemu ngumu, lakini tuna mission. Hiyo isikusumbue, hiyo ni ya kwetu. Mimi ni mhandisi lakini mwanataaluma vile vile. Ni engineer na daktari katika akademia. Nafundisha hapo MSTDC. Hapo wanaita Danish. Katika marketing na vitu kama hivi. Kwa hiyo muniombee. Bwana asifiwe. Hilo sio la muhimu nataka liseme kwa dakika 2 tu chache. Kitabu cha Samuel wa pili sura ya 24. Daudi anapata changamoto kubwa ya kufanya maombi kwa ajili ya watu kwa sababu ya tauni. Anakwenda mkuta mtu anaitwa Arauna akilima kwenye shamba lake. Arauna kwenye shamba lake. Na anataka kuinua madhabahu pale kwa ajili ya Mungu. Shika hiyo, ni very important ninachosema. It can change your mindset also. Na Arauna na ng'ombe na majembe ya kulimia ya miti. Anamwambia I need eneo hili na kwa ajili ya kumwekea Mungu madhabahu. Mstari wa 22 unasema hivi. Samuel wa pili sura ya 24 mstari wa 22 anasema, Arauna akamwambia Daudi, Bwana wangu mfalme na akitwae kiwanja, akamtolea yaliyo mema machoni pake. Tazama, ng'ombe hao kwa sadaka ya kuteketezwa, tena vyombo vya kupuria na vyombo vya ng'ombe viko kwa kuni. Amen. Daudi angekuwa Mtanzania angesema haleluya. Vitu hivi vyote mfalme, mimi Arauna nakupa wewe mfalme. Kisha Arauna akamwambia mfalme, Bwana Mungu wako na kukubali. What a blessing. What a blessing. David was not blessed. Hakubarikiwa. Lakini mfalme akamwambia Arauna, la sivyo. La sivyo. Lakini kweli nitavinunua kwako kwa thamani yake. Wala sitamtolea Bwana Mungu wangu sadaka za kuteketezwa nisizozigharimia. Daudi akakinunua kile kiwanja. There's something nataka nikiseme katikati ya wapendwa. Tumekula bure. Tumekaa hapa bure. Na jioni tunakula bure. Sio Kibo Hotel. Sio City Garden. Ni Grand Melia. I am very uncomfortable. Sitamtwalia, anasema kwenye kitabu cha Nyakati wa pili sura 21 mstari wa 22 mpaka 24. Ni paraphrasing of the same. Anasema sitamtwalia Bwana kilicho chako. No way. Cha Isaac na kampuni yake, no way. Kilicho chako, wala kutoa sadaka kuteketeza isiyo na gharama. Jamani, Bwana asifiwe. Mimi nimekuwa challenged sana na jambo hili. Unajua, kama tunatoka mioyo yetu iwe katika hii huduma. Yesu alifundisha katika Matthew 6 akasema hivi, mahali hazina yako iliko. Want to place our moyo here? Money. Want to place our moyo here? No shortcut. Hiyo ndio kingdom principles. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Siku moja Paulo alisema a very funny statement. I am still digging out. And I'm a small good Bible reader, by the way. Na sijapata kwani Paulo alipata maneno haya wapi? It might be labda alifanya ufunuo anasema ni kama Bwana mwenyewe alivyotufundisha, alivyotuelekeza kwamba ni heri kutoa. Aliambiwa lini? Tafuta cross reference. Kama mtheolojia mzuri katafute mstari, aliambiwa lini? Haina cross reference yoyote. Alipata kwa revelation. Sisi wa Tanzania bahati mbaya sana, sio sisi tuliokaa, wale kule nje, ni heri kupokea. Yes. Our biblical principle is ni heri kutoa kupokea. Jamani Bwana asifiwe. Jamani Bwana asifiwe. The last one verse I want to read. Nataka nisome kitabu cha pili cha Korinto, alafu niwaambie kitu nataka kusema hapo sasa. Kitabu cha pili cha Korinto sura 9, ni mstari mnaifahamu sana. Mstari wa 10. Tisa na kumi. Kama ilivyoandikwa, Paulo anasema ametapanya, amewapa maskini, haki yake inakaa. Alafu anasema hivi, inakaa, I like that, milele. It has got a permanence. Alafu anasema hivi, na yeye ampaye mbegu mwenye kupanda. Can you say mbegu mwenye kupanda? Na mkate wa chakula. Atawapa mbegu za kupanda na kuzidisha, naye atazidisha mazao ya haki yenu, naye ataongeza mazao ya haki yenu. One thing I've learned, Bwana ameniokoa so many years ago, 43 years ago, na moja training aliyonifundisha ni hii: every income, kila kipato ulicho nacho, get it from me now. Kila kipato unachokipata kule ndani kuna two things, kuna mbegu na mkate. Hakuna ujinga tulio nao wa Kristo na watu wa Mungu kama huu wa kupanda mikate na kula mbegu. On a serious note. That's what I've been doing. I enjoy planting breads and eating seeds. I enjoy it. Later on, Bwana aliponifungua akili, nimebadilisha na tubu. Hakuna ujinga unaozidi kuliko huu wa kupanda mikate na kula mbegu. Ngoja nikueleze, leo nimeagiza wanunue mbegu wapeleke shamba leo. Zile mbegu mpendwa za mahindi zimewekwa sumu. Ukila kande wewe ni mpare, unakula kande, kula kama ufi. Mbegu za Mungu siku zote ni protected. Mbegu za Mungu ni protected. You eat it, you're going in trouble, utakufa tu. Kwa nini? Ni protected. By default ni protected. Ni kate ya kula tu. Ukipanda haitaota. Tulipokuwa dogo hivi tulikuwa tunapewa peremende. Alafu nasema, zinatoka kwenye mti gani? Alafu tunasema tupande peremende, alafu tutavuna, tutakula hizo peremende, tunapanda, baada ya wiki tunawekea maji. Baada ya wiki haijaota. Tukifungua wamekula wadudu. Sababu tulikuwa tunapanda mikate. Nataka ni challenge each one of us. Jamani, nimalize kitu. Wenzetu wamegharamikia hela nyingi. Habari ambayo nimezipata mimi ni kwamba ya milioni 8 kufanya wale watu wanaokuja jioni waweze kula na sisi tuweze kula. Milioni 8. Yaani tusipozipata hizo pesa, Isaac anatoka hapa na heavy heart. Yes.